Let's talk about what's going on in St. Louis County. Okay. Um, Essentially, a fight broke out between two girls. Okay. As it says here, just north of Hazelwood High School, right, in St. Louis County. One African American and the other Caucasian. And the result of that fight is that this girl, as you can see here, was left in critical condition. I'm going to play the video, and it's quite shocking. So I'm going to warn you all ahead of time. But you can literally hear the girl's head crack as the African American girl slams her head into the concrete. Now, there's a couple things to keep in mind here. Number one, they're both minors, from my understanding. But I have heard that the African American girl was actually the older of the two. Okay. And I'm going to play the video, and I want you guys to tell me if you believe that this is self-defense. And then I'm going to give you all my take on it and why I think that the problem that we're facing is deeper than this video, and that this video or this situation is literally just a manifestation of the culture, not just, as they say, Black culture, but American culture, right? So let's go ahead and play the video. And I want you guys to tell me, do you think this is self-defense? Now, first of all, they said, I'm hearing people say that the girl got jumped. I'm from California, homie, right? I've been in several street fights, okay? Nobody's getting jumped here. But I'm just going to play the fight or play the video. Bam. Now, clearly, the white girl got some black friends. Oh, no. Lord God. Yeah, and you hear the crowd respond. It ain't really much else to watch, but we're going to play it through its fullness. The recorder couldn't even watch it. The girl is out. She's done. And the fighting continues. Male, female, a bunch of high school kids, right? Now the black girl realizes this girl is devastated. You see her reaction. And they still going. Oh, Lord. Okay. There you have it. Missouri, right? So we have this tendency out here on the West Coast where we think that we the only ones hard, and like we go hard, and it gets active everywhere. It gets active all over the states. Um, so the self-defense case, right? Oh, and before I even get into that, let's give an update in terms of what happened after this. So after this happened, the young black girl gets arrested. And my understanding is that she's been charged with a high level of assault. A high level of assault. I've heard that this black girl was actually an honor roll student. I don't know how true that is. I've heard that this black girl has had no previous encounters or trouble with the law. So, first of all, let me say this. I consider myself to be pro-black. I am pro-black life. I'm pro-black marriage. I'm pro-black community. Doesn't mean I hate anyone that's not black. For those who don't know, you don't have to be anti anything to be quote unquote pro-black, right? I believe in the past, present, and future for the African American community. I'm not even going to say people of color community because we know that's foolishness. But in addition to being quote unquote pro-black, I'm also fair and balanced, right? It is extremely difficult for me to call this self-defense. Why? Because what that would mean, if I call that self-defense, that would mean that any situation when two individuals willingly get involved in a street fight and someone dies as a result of that fight, that we would call that self-defense. And as a result of calling that self-defense, the person who killed the other person is not liable of any crime. No. I'm sorry, that's not the reality. Self-defense would have been her minding her business and the girl jumps on her and does this and that. Now that's self-defense. Imagine a, a person challenges a law enforcement officer to a fight, right? And, or let's say, for example, if someone is fighting with a cop, right? And the cop, the person punching is trying to punch the cop, can't punch the cop, maybe gets one shot in. The cop slams this person's head into the ground and cracks their skull open. Now, the police will try to say that's self-defense, right? But it's kind of a different situation in that case because law enforcement officer would be imposing the law. In this case, this is two people just engaging in lawless behavior. There's nothing lawful about this. So, in my opinion, self-defense is a stretch, a long stretch. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say this is murder. This is not murder, okay? But this is definitely high level of assault, borderline manslaughter. Yeah. The unlawful killing, right? This is the definition of manslaughter, right? The unlawful killing of a human being. Now, I've heard some of the narratives floating around in the pro-black atmosphere. One is that, oh, well, it's because she's a white girl is the only reason why they're not saying that it's self-defense. It's the only reason why this person is being charged. And if this was if the roles were reversed, and if it was a white girl slamming a black girl's head into the ground, that they would have not even charged her with a crime, and it would have been just self-defense from the beginning. And while I do agree that there would probably be some, radical, people on that side of the spectrum who would call it that and would say that, I think that that group of radical individuals would be very much so wrong. I think that the truth is very simply that this girl committed a crime. And you have to understand it this way. People can commit crimes and not intend to actually do it. Do you guys understand that? Do you understand that I can, with the best intentions, or in this case, the girl definitely didn't have the best intentions. She definitely had the intention to harm this girl. But did she have the intention to leave her in critical condition? I'm sure she didn't. But when you're 15 years old, right? You're emotional, you're a girl, you don't know the power that you actually have, right? You're 160 pounds, whatever it might be. You're fighting this little weak girl, and you slam her behind into the ground. Now her head done bounced off the concrete, you done cracked her whole skull open. You may not have intended to do this, but the fact that you did it nonetheless makes you liable for a crime. Now they're saying that they're trying to decide if they're going to charge her as an adult. I don't think she should be charged as an adult. I don't think she should be charged as an adult, and I hope that she's not. I don't know the politics of Missouri to say that, oh, well, these racist people are trying to do this and do that. But what I do know is to charge this girl with manslaughter shows that the district attorney or whoever it is that brought about those charges has a relatively fair sense of justice. Because justice is justice, right? Like this is not like we're not talking about like slavery and all these things and like the Jim Crow. We're not talking about that, right? We're talking about an isolated event, an isolated situation between two groups of teenagers. And so justice and race should not have they shouldn't there should not be any confusion based on the race of the individuals, based on what I'm seeing. And this is the reality of it, right? We understand that when this goes to court, when it goes to trial, if it does, unless the girl takes a plea deal, which she might, we'll see. But if this goes to trial, the jury's going to see the same footage that we just watched. And the same conclusion that we've come to is the conclusion that the jury's probably going to come to. Now, they're going to try to persuade them left and right, the lawyers. But at the end of the day, this is not okay. And I wouldn't care if the girl slamming the girl's head into the ground was white and the victim was white. I wouldn't care if I didn't even want to call her the victim, right? She's the person who lost the fight. Okay, she like lost the fight and got her head cracked. Like, damn. But sometimes you lose a fight and you got to pay a price. It's not like they could just walk away from this, right? If she would have slammed her head into the ground and gave her a concussion, but she could walk away, none of us would be hearing about this story. It would have just been a fight where one girl lost. Okay, you go away, nothing happens. But sometimes when you engage in violence, actual violence can occur. This is the problem, and this was the cultural problem that I was talking about from the very beginning of this video, is that we live in a society where we say to our kids, right? Or people say to their kids, oh, well, you better go hit her. You better go do this. And you better whoop her head. You better not let him do this. You better punch him in the face. If he does this, you better do that. And I understand self-defense, right? I understand like the purpose of self-defense. But as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. And when you have great power and you yield it the wrong way, this is the result. This is the result of someone having great power but not utilizing it the right way. And then you bring about violence. This is not about race, fam, is what I'm trying to say. This is about violence. It's not about us getting on code with the black girl and understand, like it's not that complicated. It's not that deep. This is a simple situation of two people getting into fights, and it goes too far. It goes too far. And if we want to get technical, the problem here is that the black girl repeatedly slammed the girl's head into the ground. She slams her once. It's not like she slammed her once and then punched her. She slammed her once, and you could see her grab her head. Do I have to show it? Let's show it, because we need to see these. We need to see this, right? Watch this. Here we go. Slam should have been over right there, right? And you could see she actually has her by her head. She slams the girl's head into the ground, family. But we're not done. That's one, two, three, at least three times. At least three times she slams her head into the ground. Now, can I in good conscience call that self-defense? That's not self-defense. It's not, family. Now, yeah, there's no referee to step in. There's no referee. This isn't an official. This is not a regulated fight. This is a street fight. Now, maybe if she was older and had more experience and understood actual self-defense, she would have understood that, the first time when I slam this person's head into the concrete, they're probably going to get knocked the hell out. I might crack their head off. I might kill them. An adult's going to understand that. But a kid who don't know about real self-defense is just upset and wilding. So she gonna slam her and slam her and slam her again. And then the camera pans out. She might have got her head slammed at least one or two more times. So can you call that if I look at that and I say, well, damn, that's clearly not self-defense, does that mean I'm not pro-black? Obviously, I don't believe the answer to that is yes, right? I don't think that, me saying the obvious makes me any less of a pro-black person. In fact, I think it actually makes the person who claims to be pro-black and says that this is self-defense, it actually makes you look like a hypocrite. It makes you look like a hypocrite because you got to call wrong wrong and right consistently. Now, there's some situations where there may be exceptions to that rule, where we're talking about us as a whole, because our histories collectively are different, right? But if we're talking about two individual groups getting into a scuffle, and then the other thing you see is after it's over, or actually before it was over, and you hear these nerdy square ass, black boys, you can see right there, there's a black girl in the background who clearly is a friend of the white girl who's about to get put in critical condition. She starts hitting the other black girl, right? So clearly this white girl got, black friends, right? So you can't make this about race, bro. You can't, it's not about race here. And to try to make that argument is not going to stand in a court of law. It's just not. So let's talk about some solutions, and I'm going to get out of here. Some solutions to this. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Parents got to do better And I think also, rather than people pulling out their phones, males pulling out their phones to sit back and watch these girls fight, rather than you get on the phone and call the police and do all this, I think what a mature person needs to do is break up this nonsense. Where are the homeowners in this community who saw this situation unfolding and decided, even if you're not related to or know any of the parties, to break that crap up? Because what does this situation do for the property values in your neighborhood, right? Does the value of your property continue to appreciate when people are getting put to death, put to sleep, knocked out unconscious, people wilding and fighting in your communities? Does that help the Black community? Does that help the value of homes in the Black community appreciate? It's just a question. What type of people are drawn to that type of community? The type of people that's going to improve the quality of life for the people in the community? Clearly not. So it's in the best interest of the community to break this crap up, to not let it happen to begin with. One of these young people should have stepped up. Rather than being that friend who pulls out your phone to watch your friend get into a fight, you need to be the responsible person, the strong person, the real one, and just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. If they're going to get into it, let it be organized. In a fight in the street like that on concrete, that's not organized. So let's not do this like this, right? Let's not do this like this. And the very last thing I'm gonna say is this, fam. Pro-Black? Are you really pro-Black? Are you really pro-Black? I'm not saying that you're not. I'm just saying, bro, like, are you the type of person that we can trust to go before principalities and authorities and represent in a balanced way? Because here's the thing about it. Our fight for justice is not unjust. Our fight for even reparations is not unjust. The problem is some of the people who want to represent the cause sometimes totter too far on the extreme end to the point where we can't get anything accomplished, right? I mean, you look at it and say, well, will this argument hold up? And it won't. So what ends up happening is you have to settle. You have to settle out of court, right? Because you're not going to go to war in a court of law and win because the argument that you have is too shaky. So you got to use sound logic and sound reason when judging situations. And when I judge this situation, this is clearly not about race. This is violence. Gone too far. This is a girl not knowing her own strength. This is cowards in the background not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And to some extent, this is chance, right? This is people having to pay for the result of their decisions. You get into a street fight and you get your ass whooped. I'm sorry, you're not a victim, but you're also not innocent. In fact, you're guilty of a crime. And the crime that you have committed is lawlessness. Like you're in the street fighting, bro. That in itself is a crime. It's not lawful for two people to just be in the street fighting. And a lot of times they both go to jail. But guess what? You win the fight and that person is unable to function. That person is toe up. They're dead. They're unconscious. They're critical condition. You're going to get arrested as you should. As you should, because you do not get to come into the community and harm somebody like this. I don't give a damn about your race, their race. This ain't about that. You don't get to come into our community and crack a girl's head open. And the honest to God truth is that if that same situation happened in my community, I would have wanted to see the same outcome. It's extremely unfortunate. And it is extremely sad that this girl's future might be going down the drain. But guess what? She made the decision to participate. She was not walking away. She was standing right there. And they fought. I don't see at any point in this fight this Black girl showing any type of body language of trying to get away from the situation until after she cracks the girl's head open. You're not innocent. So go lay your behind down and do the time. Stand on the decision that you made. And we not as a community gonna sit around and cape for you. You know what I'm saying? You whooped her ass. You cracked her head open. My God. I mean, if that's what you want to accomplish, great for you. But now you got to deal with the consequences of your decision. It's that simple. Got to pick your battles. Pick your battles and pick them wisely. Like, share, subscribe, fam. Comment below. Till we chat again, I am out.